Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Govardhan Giri Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and thank you so much for giving your precious time. And as you know, we eagerly wait for your classes. So Prabhuji will be talking on Chaitanya Bhagavta Madhya Kanda, 17th chapter from texts 38 to 62. So please take over, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadho Jayamudhirayet Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Lankhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Caitanya Iswaram Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhya Khanda, chapter 17. Chapter 17 is the Lord's wandering throughout Navadvip and descriptions of the devotees' glories. That is the title of the chapter, and we are reading from text 38 onwards. Text 38 is continuing from where Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is going to Ganga, to jump into the Ganga, saying that for what purpose should I maintain this life which is devoid of love of God? Why did you two hold me back? That is text 37. So the two holding him back are Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur, just for context sake. And then text 38. Dui jane mahakamba aji ki bhale Nityananda dikchahi Gaurachandra bale. The two trembled as they thought, what will happen today? Looking at Nityananda, Gaurachandra spoke. Tumi kena dharila amara kesha bhare Nityananda bale kene yaha mari bare. Why did you grab my hair? This is Gauranga Mahaprabhu is asking. Nityananda Prabhu replied, why did you try to kill yourself? Prabhu bale jani tumi parama vihvala Nityananda bale Prabhu kshamaha sakala. Lord said, I know you are most restless. Nityananda then said, oh Lord, please forgive me. This is the exchange or the conversation that is taking place between Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who we understand to be the none other than Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is none other than Lord Balarama. And these two personalities, with their full potencies, they are having a conversation where one is asking the other. Nityananda Prabhu is asking Gauranga Mahaprabhu, why did you try to kill yourself? So, as we know, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Gupta or Channa Avatara. That is, he hides the fact that he is the Supreme Lord. And therefore, it is very difficult to understand the activities of the Lord and very difficult to understand how he is dealing with his Parshadas. So that is why these narrations look, very unique. And also at every level, we find that it's very inconceivable. And that is one word or one usage that we always connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The inconceivability of the Supreme. Therefore, even to understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person with a personality who is the ultimate fountainhead of everything, that itself is most difficult to comprehend and conceive. And that is also one of the reasons why the Jnana Marga, where those who are following the Jnana Marga, they come to this Brahman understanding about the Supreme Absolute Truth. Because actually, out of the three, that is, we understand that Brahman realization is the first stage, and then Paramatma realization is the second stage, and Bhagavan realization is the final, the topmost stage. And there are a lot of jnanis who come and get sort of, they remain at that Brahman realization level. It is because of this that it's very, first of all, very difficult to conceive. Second of all, even to come to the level of realizing that this is inconceivable, that itself takes some doing. Then what to speak of the Supreme Lord? Now, as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he has appeared in a very Channa avatara. That means he's completely covered, meaning that supremacy of the Lord is covered. And although that supremacy of the Lord is covered in one sense, the supremacy of the Lord is exhibited by Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu as being the most magnanimous form or incarnation of the Supreme. In other words, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Supreme Person, is supremely magnanimous. And we can only identify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Supreme Lord by seeing his supreme magnanimity. In all other ways, he hides his supremacy. That is why here, such conversations like, why are you trying to kill yourself? The Lord is trying to jump into the Ganga, and Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they are, stopping the Lord. Like, doesn't Nityananda Prabhu know that this is Sri Caitanya is none other than Krishna? Doesn't he know? Of course he knows. And in this particular Leela, Nityananda Prabhu is actually 12 years older than Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that way, he has got, more authority over Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, these type of exchanges that the Lord does with his associates becomes very intriguing at times. Intriguing at times. And also, they appear contradictory to the nature of the Supreme Lord. They appear contradictory to the nature of the Supreme Lord. However, the Acharyas tell us that all the contradictions are reconciled in the Supreme. Meaning, any contradiction that we see are apparent contradictions, meaning they actually do not exist on the absolute platform on which the Supreme Lord is. However, to us, they look very contradictory. Like here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying that, what is the use of keeping life, keeping this body when there is no love of God? Now just imagine. It is actually, in one way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing us that there is no point in maintaining this life if we do not develop love of Krishna. That is the sum and substance of this particular incident. That if one cannot develop Krishna Prema, then one's life is useless. Just as our Parameshti Acharya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that a body, maintaining a body without Krishna consciousness is like keeping a dead body. Therefore, it is very important that in order to actually have value addition to our human form of life, we must develop Krishna consciousness. That is the very strict interpretation of this particular behavior by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, what's the use of living? Now, why Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is extremely magnanimous? And we also understand that he is giving this Krishna Prema indiscriminately. The Lord is giving it indiscriminately by giving the name. By giving the name to everyone, because the name is so powerful. The name of Krishna, Rama, Hari, is so powerful that it acts more, it is stronger than any other mantra that one can think of. Because we know that all mantras follow rules and regulations, but for Nama, there is no rule and regulation. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that Tatrarpida Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. So therefore there is no rule and regulation for this chanting the name, the holy name of the Supreme Lord. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving that and giving it to everyone. And by that he is showing that actually the Supreme Lord is the final authority as to who is qualified and who is not qualified. So when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that everyone is qualified to chant the holy name of the Lord, that means it is the Supreme Lord's independent decision to give this holy name, which is transcendently powerful, that in its own merit it can deliver Prema Bhakti, which is the topmost. The holy name of Krishna is powerful in itself to deliver Prema Bhakti to the person who is chanting that holy name. It is that powerful. It is independent, just like Bhakti, we say, is independent of jnana, karma, and everything else. Similarly, the holy name also, because it has all the potency of the Supreme Lord. Namnam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktihi. Is it not? So he has invested the entire Shakti. The Supreme Lord has he has given that full potency of in his holy name. So therefore, by chanting that holy name, one is able to realize the topmost conclusion. One is able to get the topmost knowledge. And one is able to get the topmost fruit, which is unalloyed Krishna Prema. So all these things are, this is what Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu showing his supremacy through his supreme magnanimity. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Srila Rupa Goswami says. Why? Because Krishna Prema Pradayate, you are giving Krishna Prema, which is actually very, very rare. Is it not? This pure devotion itself, Shuddha Bhakti, among the characteristics, Srila Rupa Goswami also notes that this Sudurlabha, that Shuddha Bhakti is Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha means very, very Durlabha, no? It's very rarely attained, Shuddha Bhakti. And it is the practice of Shuddha Bhakti that takes one to Krishna Prema. But Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the way that is most direct and also the way that is the easiest. So therefore, and why is he doing this? That is where it becomes inconceivable. It can only be attributed to the supreme magnanimity and mercy of the Supreme Lord. So then we may think that why then, the Krishna himself did not give this kind of mercy. Because Krishna put condition, What did he put condition? He said, Aham tuam sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shucha. He said that I will remove all your papa. I'll nullify everything and I will give you moksha. Ma shucha, do not worry. But there was a precondition. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam varja. So that was conditional upon this. Aham tuam sarva papebhyo is conditional upon we becoming sarva dharman parityajya Krishna ekam sharanam varja. When that happens, this will happen. Krishna says. But Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, proving himself to be supremely munificent, did not put any condition also. He did not put any condition. It is because he is having, although he is Supreme Lord, Krishna, but Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is having the bhava, the mood of Srimati Radharani, who is more merciful than Krishna. He wants, Srimati Radharani wants all the fallen conditioned souls to become attracted and attached to Krishna. She is very keen on that. And therefore, because Krishna accepted her mood as Lord Sri Chaitanya, so this distribution of indiscriminate distribution of mercy leading up to the topmost result becomes, in one way we can say it is actually a byproduct, because Krishna appeared as Lord Sri Chaitanya so that he can actually feel what Radharani felt. So that is going on, the internal Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is discussing with Gadadhar Pandit and Swarup Damodar Goswami all the intimate Leelas of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radha, and they are discussing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. But on this side, all the fallen conditioned souls are getting this opportunity to hear and chant the holy name of Krishna. And this is how the Lord acts. So we cannot understand. And in between, in his interaction with his devotees, he is doing these type of things, trying to jump into the Ganga. So then we may wonder then, why would the Supreme Lord do something like this? So we have to try and understand. And as I said, the level of realization that this whole thing, this Leela is inconceivable. That means with our limited brain material, it's difficult to understand. But one thing we can understand is that we cannot completely conceive what is going on. That in itself is a good realization. Vyare Shasti Karibare Para Sarvamate Taralagi Chalanija Sharira Chadite. Do you want to give up your body because of someone that you can easily punish? Abhimane Sevakera Balila Vachana Prabhutahe Laibeki Brityera Jivana. If servants speak something out of pride, do their master take their lives? So it's because of Advaita Acharya's words, apparently Sri Caitnaya Mahaprabhu is doing this, that going to the Ganga and trying to jump into the Ganga. So they are saying, Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, we are all your servants. No master would ever take a servant's word so seriously that he will try to take his own life. So they are exhibiting their bhava of servitude, of the bhava of servitude, which is what is epitomized by Sri Nityananda Prabhu, epitomized by Lord Balarama, epitomized by Lord Lakshmana, because they are, essentially Adishesha, the original Sevaka Bhagavan, Adishesha, original, first Shesha. Sheshatvam itself means that servitude. So this Adishesha, Adisankarshana, is the original Sevaka Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the original Sevaka. So that same original Sevaka is only Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He is Bhagavan, he is also Sevaka. And whom is he serving? Serving Bhagavan only. Who is the Savior Bhagavan? Who is Krishna? We can say Rama. We can say Mahavishnu. Sevaka Bhagavan and Savior Bhagavan. So that same mood Nityananda Prabhu is now bringing out, saying that we are your servants. We say something, because these are all very confidential servants. So they have more liberty than the regular, low-level servants. So they are saying, out of, our bhava, we say something and you take it so seriously that you will take your life. So this is the level of bhava, and the interaction is on that bhava. We must understand that. Premamaya Nityananda Vahe Prema Jala Yara Prana Dhana Bandhu Chaitanya Sakala. Filled with devotion, Nityananda shed tears of love for Lord Chaitanya, who was everything for him, his life, his wealth, and his friend. Prana Dhana Bandhu. So this is another exhibition of your prema. When one comes to the topmost level of bhava in Shuddha Bhakti, in pure devotion, when one reaches the topmost level, then the Supreme Lord alone becomes everything for that devotee. Supreme Lord alone becomes everything. Yara Prana Dhana Bandhu. Prana Dhana Bandhu. These three things are very important, no? Even for us. Prana, Dhana, Bandhu. And all these three are very dear to us. Is it not? Although after practicing devotional service for some time, we may think these things, I have become detached to these things. But factually, it is very difficult. Factually, it is very difficult. That is why these three things are highlight: prana, dhana, bandhu. So the process of bhakti through surrender to Krishna, through chanting of the holy name, Krishna becomes our bandhu. How does he become? What sort of bandhu he should become? Like how one thing we can think of is how the sakhas of Vrindavana, how the sakhas of Vrindavana saw Krishna. For them, also he was prana, dhana, and bandhu. But as bandhu, they had nobody closer than Krishna. They had nobody closer than Krishna. Their whole life was Krishna. To the extent, Acharyas mentioned that in the middle of the night, sometimes some Gopa boy will come running to Nanda Bhavan and he'll knock the door. You know, Yashodamaya, please wake up Krishna. It is time to go for herding the cows, like that. Because he has come whole day, he has spent with Krishna. But evening when everybody goes home, then Krishna is at home. He is in his home. So even until the next day morning, he is unable to bear that separation. Sometimes they come and knock the door during midnight. And then Yashodamaya, Nanda Baba, they have to tell them, no, it's still midnight. You go back and sleep. Morning you wake up, then tomorrow evening. So this is one example of this prana, dhana, bandhu, that you cannot stay without, that you cannot stay separated from, that you cannot stay separated. So actually, when Krishna becomes such a bandhu, that we cannot stay without him, even for a second. Currently, when we examine ourselves, we will know that in that position that we cannot live without for a second, we will see, if we honestly introspect, we will see it is filled with so many people, things, etc., etc., etc. But here, Nityananda Prabhu, that Sri Chaitanya for him is prana, dhana, bandhu. Practically everything, as we say. So this is the mood. This is the bhava. And this is the bhava that we are supposed to emulate by our practice of vidhi, sadhana, bhakti. Continues. Prabhu bale suna nityananda haridasa karosthane karapache amara prakash. The Lord then said, listen, Nityananda and Haridas, do not tell anyone that you have seen me. Amana dekhila bali bali bhavachana, amara agnya e kahiba kathana. Tell everyone that you did not see me. You follow this order of mine. Muni aji sangope takiba e thani, kare pache kahayadi mora doshanai. Today I will hide here. If you tell anyone, then do not blame me for the consequences. See? Again, it is because of that relationship that he is speaking like this. If you tell other people, I don't know what the consequences. Again, to us, this looks very inconceivable. No? How can the Supreme Lord speak to the other Supreme Lord like this? He is Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Supreme Lord Nityananda. So, Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling Supreme Lord Nityananda Prabhu, if you do this, I don't know what will happen. I will not be responsible for the consequences. That's exactly the words. I will not be responsible. So we may You know, on a cursory glance, this looks like some two regular people talking. You know, regular people means two normal, run of the mill, or to put it philosophically, two Baddha Jivas speaking to each other. To look like that. However, it is not. This is something, this type of exchanges that the Supreme Lord does in his Leelas, the Acharyas tell us that this actually increases the transcendental pleasure of those who are taking part in that particular exchange or the Leela. Everything, when the Supreme Lord does anything, especially when he is incarnating in the material world, he is aiming at increasing the transcendental pleasure of his devotees and also himself. Of course, he is always transcendently blissful 100%. That is why always when these type of discussions are taken, always the two aspects of the Supreme Lord are always to be kept as benchmark. One is Atma Rama and the other is Purna Kama. The Lord is always self-satisfied and Lord is Purna Kama. That means Lord does not have any unfulfilled desire. These two defines the Lord actually, Atma Rama and Purna Kama. So therefore, whenever we see that the Lord is, showing some as if there is an unfulfilled desire, or when the Lord is showing as if he is dependent on somebody, we must immediately reconcile it with the two truths or the tattvas that the Lord is Atma Rama and Purna Kama. That actually the Lord is always transcendently blissful and not dependent on anybody for his bliss, and that there is no unfulfilled desire in the Lord. Although for the purpose of the Leela, in order to increase the transcendental bliss of the devotees, he will exhibit things like that. And while he is exhibiting that, the Lord also feels that way. The Lord also feels that way. Because if he actually doesn't feel that way, it would be as if the Lord is cheating the devotee, and it's not possible. Why? Because the Lord is also Satyavak. So therefore he cannot do that. So then again, as I said from beginning, the whole thing is inconceivable. The whole thing is inconceivable. But within the Lord, there is no contradiction. Everything he does is for the purpose of the Leela to become more transcendently enjoyable for the Lord and the devotees. So this conversation is continuing in that vein. Bhakta Sabha Napaya Prabhu Raudesha Dukhamaya Haila Sabe Sri Krishna Avesha 47. Ei Bali Prabhu Nandanera Ghareyaya Ei Dui Sangopa Kaila Prabhu Rajnaya. After speaking in this way, the Lord went to the house of Nandanacharya. Following the Lord's order, the two kept this a secret. Absorbed in love for Krishna, the devotees all became full of distress when they were unable to receive any news about the Lord. Now, here you see the Lord, by hiding himself from the view of those devotees who are very close to him, they're all now feeling an intense separation from the Lord. More separation the Lord gives when he leaves Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. Correct? That time also we see that devotees feel intense separation. Now here it's only a matter of few hours, before which the Lord will once again be in the midst of his devotees. But even that time, here, Mundan Das Thakur is saying that the devotees felt great separation from them. So again, when we read this, no, this is very difficult for us to comprehend, because we don't seem capable of having the same feeling of separation from the Lord. Is it not? We don't have that same feeling of separation from the Lord. Of course, as practicing devotees, one thing we feel great separation is, one thing that we are capable of feeling great separation is Krishna Prasadam. And Krishna Prasadam is not different from Krishna. We cannot be separated from Krishna Prasadam for a day, 2 days, 3 days. No, very difficult. So that is something that we can understand. Cannot be staying, too far, too long separated from Prasadam. So we must understand that just like that, because at our level, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, all these things are there. So at least at Annamaya level, we are able to understand what is that separation. If you don't have it, something will happen. Like Pranamaya, if you don't breathe, you cannot stay. If you don't eat, you cannot live. You feel, you will immediately start feeling the lack of it. Similarly, at the topmost level, devotee feels separation from Krishna. Devotee feels separation from Krishna. And many times the Supreme Lord does it just like we see in Rasa Leela, the Lord dances with all the gopis. And then suddenly he walks away with one gopi, as Srimad Bhagavatam describes. And then he disappears from the arena totally. And then we see, because the Lord disappeared, we got, Gopika Geetam, the very beautiful prayer by the gopis, expressing their feeling for Krishna, scolding Krishna, begging Krishna. We see all those various different emotions flowing through that particular section. Why? Because Krishna disappeared. If Krishna had finished the dance and everybody is happy and everybody went home, there will be no Gopi Geet. No? So Krishna does these things in order to increase the pleasure of the devotees. And this happens only when the Supreme Lord is incarnating in the material world. Because in the spiritual world, such a separation is not there. Krishna is always there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always there. So always Leela is going on. Separation Leela is possible only when the Lord incarnates in the material world. Then only he can go from Vrindavan to Mathura and not come back to Vrindavan and make them all feel separation. Whereas in Golok Vrindavan, Nitya Golok Vrindavan, they are always united. There is no separation. Even though there may be separation, that will only be like, very negligible. Because their time factor also is not there. See, very difficult to comprehend. But in the material world, yes, he went away and for so many years he did not come back. After that, they did not see him like that. Within some frame, we can say there is separation, there is union. So all these things, these leelas that become sweet is played out in the material world. So that is another reason why devotees want to take part in the avatar leela of the Lord. Because there is a more range of rasa, there is a more range of bhava that can be experienced. Parama virahe sabe kare na krandana, keha kichu na balaye, pode sarvamana. They then began to cry due to feelings of intense separation. No one said anything as their hearts burned. Sabarayu parayana haila vrajapata maha aparadha haila shanti puranatha. Everyone felt like they had been struck by thunderbolt, and Advaita, the Lord of Shantipur, thought himself a great offender. Aparada haya Prabhu, Prabhu Ravi Rahe, Upavasa Kari Kiya, Thaki Lena Grahe. Feeling that he had committed an offense, Advaita Prabhu went home and fasted due to intense separation from the Lord. See, the Advaita Acharya immediately goes home and starts fasting. Just now I mentioned about, prasada and this, not being able to stay without it for very long periods. Huh? Because at one level, that is how everything is. Here, because for them, the separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is topmost. It is topmost. And everything else then becomes secondary. So even honoring prasadam becomes secondary. Therefore, they don't care. And therefore, for them, it is very easy. Therefore, for them, it is very easy to give up food, to give up sleep. We see Haridas Thakur spending almost 20 hours a day chanting the holy name. Not only Haridas Thakur, the 6 Goswamis, they were all like that. They did not care for the requirements of the body, or rather, they kept the requirements of their body to such a minimal level that the entire time they wanted to dedicate manasa, vacha, karmana, they wanted to dedicate everything in serving Krishna. So this is another example of how advanced devotees bhava, how it is exhibited. So here Advaita Acharya is now fasting because he feels that he has committed an offense. Sabe chalila ghare soka kuli haya gauranga charana dhana hridaye bandhiya. Filled with lamentation, everyone returned to their homes with the treasure of Gauranga's lotus feet bound in their hearts. Even at that point, they had bound Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's lotus feet in their hearts. How wonderful. Hakura Aila Nandan Acharya Ghare Vasila Asiya Vishnu Katara Upare. The Lord arrived at Nandanacharya's house where he sat down on the throne of Lord Vishnu. Nandana Dekhiya Grihe Paramamangala Dandavathaya Padila Bhumitala. Seeing that the most auspicious personality has arrived in his house, Nandanacharya offered obeisances by falling flat on the ground. Satvare Dilena Ani Nutana Vasana Tita Vastera Edilena Sri Sachinandana. He quickly brought new clothes for Sri Sachinandan, who then changed his wet clothes. The word Tita means wet or drenched. So Mahaprabhu had jumped into Ganga and was pulled out by Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Haridas Thakur. And with that wet dress, he has come to Nandanacharya's house. So on one hand, you see, on one hand, all devotees are in Vipralamba, separation. Is it not? And here, Nandanacharya alone, he is getting Sambhoga. He is having the direct physical association of the Supreme Lord. And he is able to worship Prasada Chandanamala, Divya Argya Gandha, Chandane Bhushita Kailya, Prabhu Rashri Yanga. Nandanacharya offered Argya and fragrant oils as well as sandalwood paste and flower garland prasad. He decorated the Lord's body with sandalwood paste. See? So many people's loss is one person's gain. Karpura Tambulayani Dilena Sri Mukhe, Bhaktera Padartha Prabhu, Kaya Nija Sukhe. Just like offering to Lord Sri Krishna, Nandanacharya is offering camphor and betel nuts and offered them to the Lord, who happily ate at his devotees' offerings. Pasarila Dukha Prabhu Nandana Sevaya, Sukriti Nandana Vasi, Tambula Yogaya. The Lord forgot all his distress by the service of pious Nandanacharya, who sat there offering betel nuts. So now the Lord has become very free, very pleased, very calm, seeing Nandanacharya. Prabhu Bale Mora Vakya Sunaha Nandana, Aji Tumi Amare Kariba Sangopana. The Lord said, Oh Nandana, listen to me. today you should hide me here. Nandana balaya Prabhu ebada dushkara katha lukaiba tumi sansara bhitara. Nandana replied, "Oh Lord, this is very difficult. Where can you hide within this world?" Nandanacharya is now, although he is speaking, like as if it's plain language, he is talking the topmost philosophy. He is saying, "Oh Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Lord. Huh? You are all pervading. You are within and without. You are most famous. Where can you hide?" The Supreme Lord is most famous. So he's asking Sri Caitnaya Mahaprabhu, where can you hide? Hridaya thakiyana parila lukaite vidita karila tuma bhakta tatha aite. You could not hide in the hearts of the living entities. The devotee is exposed to you even from there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually by kindling that bhakti in everyone's heart, and all his parshadas are doing that. So even for somebody, because in everybody's heart, the Supreme Lord is residing as Paramatma. But somebody who has turned his face away from the Supreme Lord, actually does not see the Paramatma. So therefore, it's as if the Paramatma is in hiding within the heart of the Jiva, the living entity. But Nandanacharya is saying, even that is not possible now, because your devotees are, showing you. They are showing everyone that, see, look, the Lord is sitting in your heart. So, such being the case, he is telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of what you have done, you cannot hide. Yenarila lukaite kshira sindhu maje seke mane lukaiba bahira samaje. How can one who could not hide in the ocean of milk hide in an open society? So here it says, Sri Gaurasundar is the origin of the three Purushavasaras, Karana, Garbha and Kshira. He is Swayam Rupa, the origin of even Baladeva. Generally, the localized Vishnu independently resides in the hearts of all living entities of the material world. Because of this, some people consider Sri Gaurasundar to be Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Since the devotees considered him to be the localized Vishnu, he was unable to hide himself. The universes which are created and maintained by the Purushavasaras are called material creation. Therefore, how is it possible for the localized Vishnu to hide himself anywhere within the universe? This fact was disclosed by the words of Nandanacharya. So some people also considered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is only Paramatma in everybody's heart. And whether you consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be Paramatma, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, everything is correct because he is the Supreme Lord. Factually, none of these things are incorrect. Everything is correct. Why? Because he is the origin. So Nandanacharya is saying, you being the origin of the Purusha and people considering you as Paramatma, so you are there in everybody's heart. How can you hide? Where will you hide? Unless somebody is as bad as Hiranyakashipu, very notably, one person we know that who could not find after searching for Vishnu in all the three worlds, he came back and he said that this fellow is hiding somewhere. I am not able to see him. Until his own son told him, no, you are not looking properly. He is sitting in your heart. But he could not see. But in Kali Yuga, especially in this Kali Yuga where Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, it is impossible for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hide. Why? Because his greatest plan is to reveal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plan, master plan itself is to reveal Krishna to everyone. So where will Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hide? So like this, Nandanacharya is very technically and philosophically asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where can you hide? So this is one juncture in this chapter where we will see that Mahaprabhu's mood is changing. And we should not think that these are some whimsical moods that the Lord is exhibiting, not at all. All these activities are happening on the pure transcendental platform, where the Lord is transcendently, blissfully enjoying these leelas with his Parshadas, and we are all trying to peep into that transcendental world. Being in this material platform, we are trying to get a peep into that transcendental world where all these leelas are unfolding and all this transcendental enjoyment is going on between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So I'll stop here. Sri Caitanya Bhagavata ki jai, Sri Govardhan Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this very, very wonderful class. I was really thinking on the point you said, how we can't understand the separation of devotees. For us, we can understand the separation of prasadam. So yes, you really made me realize, Prabhuji, like I am late for my lunch by half an hour, 1 hour. There is so much of that anxiety in me, and yes, now I'm understanding, Prabhuji. Till now, I had never ever thought in that line. Thank you so much for that realization, and a very nice class, Prabhuji. And how you said the Lord is awarding us uh, prema through holy name, and that is just a byproduct for him. He is here for some other internal reason. And the most coveted dhana is coming as just a byproduct for him. A very beautiful class, Prabhuji, and the pastime how you related. Thank you so much. I see Preeti Vilasni Mataji has raised her hand, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Such an insightful class. I really liked some things that you said, that Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, though he was a Channavatar, he was not openly declaring his supremacy, but he declares his supremacy just by showing his magnanimity. And with his magnanimity, he gave the holy names that can be easily chanted by everybody without any rules and regulations, besides the mantras, which you have some rules and regulations. So he was so magnanimous that he distributed this very simple way of deliverance that only he had. And since he's the Supreme Lord, he has every authority to give it away. And so that was so nice, very nice, very poetic way of understanding the Lord. And even this analysis of the Lord's vanishing from a place, bestowing great benefit to the devotees. You mentioned how Krishna, when he vanished from the Ras Mandal, we got the Gopi Geet. So everything Krishna is doing, especially here Gauranga Mahaprabhu is doing for some benefit for the devotees. And finally, what you said about the Lord cannot hide anywhere, because even the Paramatma is revealed. Meaning, this nice, very nice example of Hiranyakashipu. Actually, he was searching everywhere, but Prahlad said he's right there in your heart. So Krishna will be revealed anyways, and it is so difficult to hide him. Such a beautiful analysis, Prabhu. Thank you so much for making this session so relishable. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for again highlighting those points and making us understand better. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji. As usual, your classes are something we look forward to. And are there any other realizations or questions? Yes, Prahlad Anand Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Danvat Pranam Prabhuji. Very nice discourse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I have one question. Nam Namakari Bauda. And there is no rules and regulation. What about aparad? I have been chanting for so many years, but I cannot get rid of the aparad. So what will happen to such a fallen person, Prabhuji?
Aparad is one of the disciplines that we have to inculcate, no? Aparada Shunya. Offenseless standing is a discipline that we have to cultivate. So that is what you call That is, I mean, for everything, for any gain, we must be able to give something in return. No? So, in order to get the highest benefit in return, we must at least chant without offense. So, we have to, of course, that takes time. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that one can chant with offense for 1,000,000 lifetime also. So, we have to be very, very careful about that. But there are so many methods by which we can do that. And gradually, over a period of time, very most basic is if we turn more inward than outward, automatically the tendency to make or offend others will decrease. This is also suggested by Bhaktivinoda Thakur only, that the more antarmukha we become, the less offensive we become. The more we turn towards ourselves, we will find how horrible we actually are. So that itself will be a, then there is no time and scope and what you call situation for us to find what is wrong with the other person. That's what the whole aparat thing is all about. So the more we turn inward, then we see there is scope for improvement in this and this and this and this. So then actually it becomes, an entirely self improvement machinery we become, Once we become that, then, this is like something very fundamental. And then there is, for each one, there is a different thing. So, but this is basically, I feel this is what it is. Okay, bro. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that very nice answer. If there are no more questions or realizations, with your permission, shall Priti Vilasni Mataji, you raised your hand. Is there something else, Mataji?
No, Mataji, this is old race hand.
Okay, Mataji. So with your permission, shall we offer our obeisances, Prabhuji? Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Caitanya Bhagavata ki jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Govardhan Giri Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We keep eager to have you over and over.
Yeah.
So much.
Be sure to come and tell me.